Good morning and thanks for tuning in to today's video where we are going to install the amp power steps on the 2006 F350. As you can see, it is a bit lifted. It's not super huge, but it's high enough off the ground that the kids are having problem getting in and out of it. So we're going to go ahead and put these steps on there. If you saw, I already did these once on the F150. It should be fairly similar. Hopefully it's not too bad. The one difference is that this one does not tie into the OBD2 port. Instead, you have to wire it into the door open wire, so there's a little bit more wiring involved in this one. Just splicing a wire into your existing wiring. It shouldn't be too bad, but in here we got everything unwrapped. Got the wiring harness. Starts with the hooks up to the battery. Then you have the main computer that'll hook up, which is there in the box. And then you have one side for drivers and one side for the passenger side, which will then run to these motors here, which each one of these motors gets connected to one of these brackets in the front. And then in the back, there'll be a bracket that goes towards the back of the vehicle, and then the steps sit on top of those brackets. And then we have all the nuts and bolts that we need there, along with some lights. So it should be a fairly simple install. I mean, as far as getting the steps mounted, that's easy enough. Just 4 bolts in each one. Then it's just a matter of doing the wiring, which I think the hardest part is just finding the best way to route it and get it all tucked away nice and neat so it's not a problem. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, first thing, we just have to take these motors, like I said, and they will get attached here. And you can see this gear lines up to that gear, and it'll just get screwed in like so with the supplied bolts. So let me go ahead and get those motors connected, and then we'll work on getting these brackets installed. Got all the hardware broken out into the 4 brackets. So it's these 2 longer bolts with the, I don't know what you call these things, little slip nuts, I don't know. And then these 2 smaller bolts, washers on everything. And so there's 4 sets of each of those. Looks like it's an H6 for these smaller bolts, and then a 13mm for these larger bolts. And that's going to go, the 2 longer bolts go up top and go in, and then the other smaller ones are actually screw into the bottom here. These are actually threaded. I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom holes are actually threaded. Top ones, you're just gonna kind of slide into place. So we got our first bracket, got our first set of hardware and our tools. Let's go put this on there. There's a few of these spots. There's 1, 2, 3. If you had the stock running boards, which I don't think any of them came without those, so then that's where the stock were mounted, the forward, the middle, and the rear mounting points. But yeah, these top holes, I'm just gonna slide that clip onto. And the top bolt, the longer bolt, is going to go into there. Let's get it lined up. And the same thing on the other side. Hold the top. I said the top's open so we can just slide the top up there, and then we can come in from the outside with those 2 new bolts to tighten the bottom, and then we can tighten the top up. Just gonna But yeah, these top bolts now can get tightened down. These bottom ones just get tightened down as well here in this pinch weld. And then I still got some of these older clips from the old step that was on here, so I'll pull those off. I'll go ahead and tighten these down. And it's the same thing for the ones without the motors. Obviously, it's it's the same exact install process. It just does not have the motor, and that's going to go to the rear one. So basically, you're just going to leave this middle one open, but the rest just go just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting these all installed, and then we'll pick up from there. Get the wiring started. It's up here. There's a couple holes on this side here. I put zip ties through and zip tied this computer to. There's 2 wiring harnesses that go in there, and then there's the long side, which I just kind of have draped over there, and then the short side, which I have dropped down through there. Then running the wires down and back, and well, kind of have ran into one situation. I was wondering, I was like, well, why is this connector all the way on the end if the motor's in the front? And I went back and looked at the instructions, and well, it didn't say to put the motors in the front, it said do it in the back. So I got to remove this bracket with the motor, put it in the back, and put that one in the front. On the F150, it was the other way around. I'm pretty sure that the motors were in the front, but goes to show you I should have went ahead and looked at the directions before doing that. So I need to move those back, so switch those around, and then that makes much more sense that the wire goes all the way back. Then you have this wire here, which will go through, and that's the little LED light for the back door, and then that other same thing here, the black and red wire go to LED in here for the front door. And then we have this purple wire, which we got to go up through the floorboard, and there's little grommets in there. That's going to be fun to figure out how to get up through there, because I know so I did all that soundproofing. So I did all that soundproofing up there, and so I also have the layer of sound deadening and sound insulation there. So I'm gonna have to go through both of those and through the rubber grommet. So I'll have to figure out how to get that wire up into the cabin. And it's the same thing on the other side. Got the purple cable that's going to go up into the cabin, the light for the front door, light for the back door, and then the connector on the back motor, which again, I did those backwards, so I have to switch those around. So let me go ahead, get that switched around, and then the only other thing left to connect would be this power and ground, which just go directly to the battery. There is a fuse in here, so I'll take the fuse out before I connect that. But I was just making sure, getting everything run and making sure everything reached before I started fastening anything down, and then realized that, well, I did it wrong. So let me get everything switched around and cleaned up, and then we will continue on. All right, corrected my mistake, and we got the wires running loosely. I got the purple wire hanging down. I need to go up through the grommet there and just have this tucked in up through here. And once we get everything tested and perfectly in position, I'll zip tie up everything a little bit better. I got the We wanted to make sure we had enough wire pulled to where everything was run and we could get everything connected, so we are good there. I gotta pull this up and pull that up, and then it should be just this little plastic pin front there. Christmas tree out of there. Then this whole thing should pull back. Now we can have some room to pull up the carpet and mess around with the wiring in here. So these are the wires we need to mess with, and I get that purple wire up, but I gotta get through all that. So let me find something to poke through that, pull that wire through. All right, so I just used this electric probe to poke through the rubber grommet, pull this purple and black wire through. Then it connects to this diode, so it's just a in here. Then there's two diodes on this front bundle. It connects to the gray and red wire, and on the back it's this pink and light blue wire. And you can see I got the little connector thing that's on there, and then it just twists on and pokes through into it and makes the connection. And then you can put the wire, loosen this up, put the wire in, and tighten that. Now that is a little bit of a stretch, so they do actually give you some extra wire. So I can just cut a little piece of wire to put in there. Now there's some confusion on these diodes, because when I went to order the amp steps, it said that you had to separately order these diodes, and that you could just call amp and get them sent. So I called amp and tried to get them sent, and they said they don't make them anymore. So they said, well, we don't make those diodes anymore. And so I was like, well, crap, I guess I'm not going to get these steps then. And so I started looking around. I was just going to get the RBP steps. Yeah, the RBPs were out of stock, I mean, even directly from RBP themselves. So I started looking around, and I found on Summit Racing site, they actually sold the diodes separately. They had their own stash of them, or they made their own or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I went ahead, ordered the steps, and ordered the diode kit from Summit Racing, because it said I absolutely needed this diode kit with the steps. Well, when I unpacked everything from amp, it had the diodes in it. So I didn't need to order anything from amp step. Now the difference is the ones that I ordered are a single diode, so one side is just a straight wire and the other side has the diode on it. And I guess it's the difference if you have the keypad entry or if you don't. So on this truck I do have the keypad entry, or the keyless entry. So as long as you have this on the truck, then stock, then you don't need to order any extra diodes. The steps come with everything that you need. You don't need to order anything extra. But if you don't have that keypad entry on your truck, then you need to get the diodes, and amp discontinued them, but you can go to Summit Racing or a couple other places. I ended up finding them as well, that make their own or have a stock of them, or I don't know. I'm assuming they're just making their own, because it's not, it's not a super difficult piece to make. It's just, as long as you know what the resistance or whatever it is that's in that actual diode, then you can just put one together fairly easily. But like I said, if you do have the keyless entry, then you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to order anything extra. Everything comes in the kit for the steps. So that could have saved me about a week of looking at stuff and getting this all ordered and delivered, had I just been known that, oh, I don't need to worry about that. I can just order the steps and that's all I need. So anyway, end a small little rant there. All right, go ahead and get these wires connected. Said here it's gray and red, pink and light blue. And then this just will screw in there. And I could make that work, but I don't want to put stress on it, so I'm just going to cut a little piece of this red extra wire that they give you. Put that in there, and then on the driver's side, it's the same thing, except for it's light gray, I guess LG and white, light gray and yellow. And yellow and black. That's in the door panel. So yeah, the driver's side is going to be a little bit different. Let me get this all connected, and then we'll see what this driver's side's all involved with. All right, well, AMP gives you this tube, which makes getting this wire run much easier. I pulled this out, stuck the tube down so I could run the wire up to here first, and then I stuck the tube in here, ran the wire the rest of the way through that. Now I can just pull that out, and I have the wire running to the door. Now the instructions say find an 18 gauge yellow wire with a black stripe, and it says warning, there may be two. Now you might notice that all the kill mat and soundproofing has been peeled off, and that's because, well, yes, there's two. There's actually three that I found in here, but so that's yellow with the black stripe, yellow with the black stripe, but there's another yellow with the black stripe, but that's not an 18 gauge wire, so we can ignore that one. So it says if there's two, that use the wire that leads out to the door latch. Like, all right. So pulled a little bit more back to where it splits. I figure, okay, one's probably running up there, one's running back here. Not the case. Still yellow and black wire here. Right next to it, yellow and a black wire. So then they run back to here, and then it splits again. One goes up to the door latch, and one goes, well, to the door latch. Yeah, so the one, I guess the top one runs to the keypad, and so this bottom one is actually connected to the door latch. So I gotta try to follow this yellow and black wire. Here's the wire I need to connect to. I need to run it up a little bit closer to the door, or I could splice that again, but I'd rather not, because then the other place has got to connect. Light gray and yellow is what we're looking for. All right, well, somewhere in here there's a light gray and yellow wire. Hopefully. I connect this wire to the black and yellow, and then one end to the diode, then the other end of the diode is going to go to the gray and yellow, and then the top of the diode will go to the purple wire that I still have to push through. So let me get that all sorted. Correction, that is not light gray, it's light green with yellow. And guess what? There's a light green with a yellow stripe. right next to a light green with a yellow stripe. Guess that's just a light green. Guess that's dark green. There's yellow with a light green stripe. So again, 2 wires. Okay, yeah, and it says you'll find 2 wires of that color. The correct wire will be ground when the door is open and read low resistance with the door and open with the door closed. Alright, so got this yellow and black, got the red wire run through down here and to this green and yellow. Alright, so driver's front door, open it, good, close it, step goes up, back door, open it, step comes down, back door, step goes up. Now the passenger side is working as well. Awesome. So I think what that means, we got this stuff working. I'll go ahead and clean up the wiring, put everything in the truck back together, make sure we're working up to this point still, and we can connect the lights and then put the steps on and we'll be done. All right, so the steps just go in. There's these 2 pieces and they slide, so it's how they're able to use the same step for multiple sizes. Like if you had the same truck but the extended cab or regular cab, you could still use the same steps. You would just have to trim them. So this end cap comes off, you can trim it, and then these slide wherever they need to and then just go on top of the stair or on top of the brackets that are down. But we got everything installed on this side now. Like, just looks like there's no step at all when it's up. Open the door. Got the lights come on. You can't really see too well, but the lights come on, step comes down. It's really easy to step up onto. I mean, it's super simple. Kids aren't going to have any problems. Let me find a tape measure here real quick. Where'd my tape measure go? Oh, there it is. Alright, so from the step to the top, it's about 14 inches down, so that's where you would normally have to step up. About 32 inches to step into here. Now you only have to step up 16 inches, which is a regular step height, and then another 14 inches from there to step in. So makes it much easier to get in and out. It's definitely sturdy. I mean, not surprised by it. I already had them before on the other truck and I liked them, but close the door, step goes up, lights go out, back door, just as easy to get in. Now, on this side, just got to do the same thing. But this is where I was talking about. If you can see it too well, but there's like a little square indent there, and that's where those metal pieces from the steps go in, and then you just screw them in from the bottom, and they're on there. So I go ahead and get this other step on, do the other lights. In order for the lights to be on there, yeah, we had the two black and red wires that were coming off of there, and that fits up there great. And then you had to drill a hole. It's a 9/32 hole. It shows measure back from the door crease 27 inches, put the first light, and then 65 inches to do the second light. Just drill a 9/32 hole in, put this little grommet in, and run the light in. Connect the black and red to the black and red that's already there, and then that's just 3M tape sticks to the rocker panel there. So yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. The wiring again gave me a little bit of trouble. Just, I don't know why it decided it didn't want to work, but then it started to work, and now it's working perfectly fine. But I'll go ahead, get the other side in, and then we're done. I'm going to go through, zip tie everything, make sure all the wiring is snug and out of the way, electrical tape anything, and I already put back together the inside of the truck, put the panels back, taped everything up in there. Took just about all day to get this done. Would have gone quicker had I put the mounts on right the first time, but yeah, got everything cleaned up, all the wiring done, steps are on both sides. Work. Now that it's a little darker, you can see the lights that come on. The lights on the camera, they look blue. They kind of look as blue as the lights inside there. Not quite, but they're very bluish hue to them, so it kind of all matches. Took a little longer than I think it should have, but it would have helped if I looked at the instructions the first time. But anyway, I think that should go ahead and wrap things up. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down button. Let me know. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and I will see you next time.